I am in the grave, what you should do. I'm just collection of hadiths and trying to go through it very quickly. I highlighted in red what I want to say. So, first of all, don't bury your dead at night. The Prophet ﷺ asked us not to do. And don't bury your dead while the sun is rising, or in the middle of the sky, or when the sun is setting. And the same, you cannot pray on that time either. And Yawm Uhud, the war of Uhud, the Prophet ﷺ allowed them to bury the three and the 2 and 3 in one grave because they had difficulty burying, digging grave for each one of them. I think they should have done that for the corona now because they have difficulty, many dead there. And but the one in the front is the one who really know more of the Quran. So this is what gives you higher status. And the Prophet ﷺ said we should do lahid lana. And lahid, when the person in the grave is the grave goes down like this. And you put the person here, put it in red. The person, his eyes, and then his body there, facing Kaaba. So his face is facing Kaaba. And then what you do, you put slabs on him to cover him like this. So he's in a bucket there, in a bucket, like triangle bucket. And then you put the earth on top of him. So the earth don't come directly on him, will come on the slates you put on him, or the slabs, or whatever it is you use. So this is the way in this country they lower the box and send the Muslim to accept it, and in the box you can put him on the side. But the idea not so the box will play the role of the slates. So Muslim accepted that in this country. And you say Bismillah wa ala millati Rasulillah and then you start putting the earth on top of them. And each person, from Sunnah to throw 3 handful of earth, and you say with each one of them, for the first one, minha khalaqnakum, from earth we created you, and from the second one, fiha nu'idukum, and into it we put you back, and ومنها نخرجكم تارة أخرى, we'll get you out of earth a third time, another time, in the day of judgment. I pressed end. And here, the Prophet ﷺ asked the Sahaba to ask Allah to forgive their brothers because he's asked now. So his interrogation starts straight away after the burial. We don't actually know if somebody is dead and he's put in the fridge for a week when his interrogation. Interrogation takes place to the soul, not to the body. Because if the body is burned to ash, or the body fell in the sea eaten by 2,000 fish, or in the countryside eaten by animals. So take out of your mind the body is the punishment for the physical body. It's actually for the spirit, the person, the soul. As Allah Azza wa Jalla said, النفس المطمئنة ارجع إلى ربك. النفس المطمئنة. Nafs is the spirit after living in the body for a while. When it enters the body, it's called ruh. When it comes out of the body, it's called nafs. Because it had more information now and knowledge and deeds and good deeds and bad deeds and things. And the Prophet used to tell the person what to say to answer. And you say, Fulana ibn Fulana. You call him by his mother, not his father. Because sometimes, especially in this country, when they had child support agency, there's men who said, no, it wasn't my child. So the government here, to force the father to pay sustenance for the children, they did genetic fingerprinting, and they found yes, 10% of them, it wasn't the father. He wasn't. The lady claimed to be he wasn't. So he's called Fulan ibn Fulana, the son of a Fulan person, son of Fulana, female person. so Fulan, son of Fulana, and فيقول أرشدنا, he will say, yes, tell me what to say. Like, I'm in the exam now. Tell me what to say. But you don't know, you don't hear him saying. So you say, mention what you left this dunya on, that shahadat la ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, and that you have accepted Allah as your Lord, and Islam as your religion, and Muhammad as your prophet, and the Quran is your Imam. If you don't know his mother, you say, oh, so and so, the son of Eve, our mother Eve. So son of Hawa. And it's not from Sunnah to raise the grave too high. Just raise it enough for people to know it's a grave. But it's important that you know it's the grave and the limitation. Because some put a stone, the stone gone, and it's haram to walk on it, haram to sit on it, and disappear. Because I know in certain part of the Middle East, they don't allow you to put any name there or any erect any noticeable grave. But they're saying that the hadith saying that you should it should be noticeable. And Prophet ﷺ said, لعن اليهود والنصارى اتخذوا قبور أنبيائهم مساجد. If a grave is going to be used as a place of worshipping that person, it becomes haram. So when the Sahaba, when the Prophet ﷺ died, they buried him in his room. And then when he enlarged the mosque, some Sahaba started turning towards the grave of the Prophet, so they made a triangle. And then they built a big room and things, and then people just, that's gone. At the beginning, their love to the Prophet ﷺ, like turning. But they didn't take the grave, put it somewhere else, like now some of the scholars in Saudi, so I want to take the grave out of. No, nobody worship Muhammad ﷺ ever. 1443 years now. On Sunday will be 43 years, the new year. But nobody worship Muhammad ﷺ, has no fear for that. But if people worship the person in the grave, they will be cursed. And they are shirarul khalq, the Prophet ﷺ said, at the worst of the human being. And also liars are not allowed to sit on the grave. And the Prophet ﷺ said, it's better for you to sit over a lit coal and burn your clothes and your body, and reach your skin. It's better for you than sitting on a grave. So it is forbidden to sit on the grave. Subhanallah, to وَلَقَدْ كَرَّمْنَا بَنِي آدَمَ. Allah making the Bani Adam noble, and we need to carry on this even after his death. But it's not to the stage that they make a statue of him and they worship him and things that obviously become shirk and kufr. And Naha Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you just as al-qabr, you're not supposed to beautify the grave in a way that, like you're building a big building, and not to sit on it, and not to erect any building on it. And they shouldn't he's saying here, Malikiya ban writing Quran on it. I've seen some people do, but say Malikiya, Mazhab Maliki, they don't allow writing the Quran. And the Prophet ﷺ, as we mentioned last week, that he passed a grave and he saw two people were punished in the grave. One of them because he wasn't cleaning himself after urinating, and the second one was gossiping. And he put 2 green leaves on each of the graves. So he said, may Allah reduce the punishment while these are still green. So this is why many people like put the green leaves, green branches on the grave, or sometimes they plant a tree or something. They can't plant a tree because there's so many graves next to each other. And I don't think they allow them because they destroy the graves. You can't use because in Islam you can use the grave for 2, 3, 4 people, or you can put another one. In Syria, every 7 years, you can reuse the grave. And if a woman who's not a Muslim carrying a Muslim child, but all the children are Muslims, كل مولود يولد على الفطرة, you can't bury her in the Muslim cemetery, and you cannot bury her in the Christian or Jewish cemetery. So they bury her in a separate place on her own, like a separate and cemetery. Probably it's going to be difficult in Britain, but I don't know about Syria whether they do that or not. And this is the Prophet ﷺ said, "لا تسبوا الأموات." Don't swear at the dead people, because don't worry, Allah is not the hand of Allah. Allah is not unaware of what they were doing, so don't swear at them. And mention the good things they have done. اذكروا محاسن موتاكم, and cover up for their bad things. We all have people who died before us, and some of them were horrible, but we don't mention what they've done. And the Prophet ﷺ was sitting, and a janaza passed him, a dead person, and the Sahaba mentioned how good he was and how devoted this, and he said wajabat. And another janaza passed, and there was how awful he was, and people really are safe from his harm things, and he said wajabat. It became documented by Allah. And they asked him, why you said wajabat in the first one and wajabat in the second one? He said, you're witnessing against him, documented as yes, that's what he was. So people, 40 people like witness against him that he's bad, then he is bad. If 40 people witness that he is good, then he is good. Obviously, it has to be just witnesses, not anyone. And it's a ta'ziyah mustahabba. You have to give your condolences to the family of the dead person. And even if he is not Muslim, even if he was Christian or Jew or Zimmi. Zimmi is the one who have the uh, right to stay in peace in your country. He's not fighting you. He's just, and our scholars say once he has a visa to live in the country, he is Zimmi, because we are responsible to protect his rights and protect him, and he should be safe. So that's Zimmi. And it's okay to give your condolences to his family if he dies. And the Prophet ﷺ said, no believer give his condolences to his brother's family, to his brother about a person he lost, but Allah will dress him with the dress of honor on the Day of Judgment. So he will be honored the Day of Judgment because he gave the condolences. It's amazing how effective the condolence in. Alhamdulillah, we try to straight away phone the person or go to the house or phone again once, twice. And you can now use the FaceTime and things. And the Prophet ﷺ, his daughters lost her son. She sent to the Prophet ﷺ that my son is dying, come again, come quickly, come quickly. And the Prophet ﷺ sent back a person. He said to her, to Allah what he gave, and to Allah what he took. To Allah what he took, and to Allah what he gave. And everything has a time allocated to him, and ask her to be patient, persevere, and ask Allah to reward her. So even the Prophet saying, I can't stop the death. I can't stop what Allah decided to do. Obviously, the doctor wasn't, the Prophet wasn't the doctor, ambulance or something. And she thought if he's a prophet, probably he will come and stop the death taking place, but said no. And Mu'adh bin Jabal, he lost his son, and the Prophet wrote a condolences to him. So obviously, if somebody is far away, and our brother is now writing on the text and things, and he listed in the hadith what he said. أما بعد فعظم الله لك الأجر. Allah multiply your reward and give you the perseverance, and give us and you the thank for what he gave us, and our family and our money. Thank him for the money he gave us and the family he gave us, and the things he lent us. He took what his son was on loan to him. Allah took his property back. And the rest of the hadith is there. And the Prophet ﷺ, he visited the grave of his mother and he cried, and he said, I asked my Allah, my Lord, to ask him to forgive her, but he told me off. But I asked him to visit her, and he said, yes, visit her. So whether she was a believer or not believer, it wasn't mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ, but you can visit unbeliever, which is from the hadith. When you pass the dead persons, dead grave, you say, قولي, he told Aisha, Salamu ala ahli diyar, which means that Aisha allowed to visit the graves, because some say they're not allowed. But then the hadith will come later that if the habit to carry on going, then it's become haram. So visit once or twice, it's halal, but they're more emotionally attached, and sometimes they go to the extreme and could become damaging to their daily activities, daily needs for their families, and they're working, they lose their job and things. Say, Assalamu alaikum, Assalamu ala ahli diyar min al-mu'minina wal-muslimin. You say salam to the believers of these diyar. So it could be unbelievers in between them. They have Muslim name, but probably they're not. And may Allah give His mercy to the one who died before us and those who die after us. And if Allah wills, we will be following you. Also, He said, we ask Allah for you the best of the reward in the next life, safe from the hellfire and things like this. So you say Assalamu alaikum ahl al-qubur. So salam is actually sunnah, to say salam to the dead people. And you say Antum as-sabiqun, Antum salafana wa nahnu bil-athar. You are ahead of us and we will be following you. And the Prophet used to say, Allahumma aghfir li ahl al-baqi' al-gharqad. Allah forgive the people buried in the al-baqi'. This time Maghrib.
54.
54 هلا يعني. Okay, we'll stop here inshallah and